On the side of Susquehanna Road in Philadelphia, tucked into the woods, there is a cardboard box. Inside it is the body of a child. He is naked. He has been beaten so badly that his eyes are swollen shut. His ribs are visible through his skin. He weighs 30 pounds, and nobody on earth knows who he is. It is February 25th, 1957, and this boy will remain nameless for the next 65 years. His headstone will read only 4 words: America's unknown child. The man who found him wasn't even looking. He was checking his muskrat traps in the woods that morning. Illegal traps he did not want the police to know about. When he stumbled on a JCPenney box marked "Fragile, handle with care," and saw what was inside, he walked away. He said nothing. It took 3 more days before someone else, a college student, spotted a rabbit running into the underbrush and went to investigate. That's when Philadelphia police got the call. What they found would launch one of the longest unsolved murder investigations in American history and turn a nameless child into one of the most haunting cold cases this country has ever seen. But what nobody expected was where the answers would finally come from, or what those answers would reveal. Detectives arrived at the scene and immediately understood 2 things. First, this child had been tortured. His body was covered in bruises, some fresh and some old. He had 7 scars, 3 of them surgical, 1 on his ankle, 1 in his groin, and 1 shaped like an L under his chin. He had been severely malnourished over a long period, but the second thing was stranger. The child had been cleaned. His fingernails were freshly trimmed. He had been bathed so recently that his fingers were still wrinkled from the water. His hair had been crudely chopped short, likely after he was already dead, because clumps of it still clung to his body. Whoever killed this child had then carefully groomed him before stuffing him into a box and leaving him in the woods. The Philadelphia Inquirer printed 400,000 flyers with the boy's face on them. They were inserted into every single gas bill in the city of Philadelphia. Detectives knocked on what has been described as nearly every door in the city. They checked every hospital, every orphanage, every foster home. They compared his fingerprints to every database they had. Nothing. No match. No missing child report. No parent. No name. It was as if this boy had never existed at all. But one man refused to let him disappear. Remington Bristow worked at the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's office. He was there the day the boy's body came in, and from that moment, the case consumed him. For 36 years, Bristow chased leads on his own time and his own dime. He consulted a psychic who led him to a foster home 1.5 miles from the crime scene. At an estate sale there, Bristow found a bassinet that matched the box and blankets that matched the ones wrapped around the body. The foster home was run by a man named Arthur Nicoletti, who later married his own stepdaughter, a woman named Anna Marie, who had secretly given birth to 4 children out of wedlock. Bristow was convinced the answer was in that house, but he could never prove it. He died in 1993, still working the case. Then in 2002, a confession surfaced from the most unexpected place. A psychiatrist in Cincinnati contacted Philadelphia detectives and said one of her patients, a woman known only as Martha, insisted on talking to the police. Martha's story was horrifying. She said her mother had purchased the boy from his birth parents in 1954 when he was about 3 years old. She said the child was kept in a basement and subjected to years of physical and sexual abuse. She said one night, the boy vomited baked beans in the bathtub, and her mother beat him so severely that he died. The coroner had found baked beans in the boy's stomach. Martha knew details that had never been made public. Retired FBI agent William Fleischer said her testimony, her addresses, her descriptions, all of it added up. But Martha had a documented history of mental illness, and her neighbors from that time denied any boy had ever lived in the house. Police could not verify the story, and the lead went cold again. For decades, this case kept hitting the same wall. The boy had never been registered at any hospital. He had no birth certificate on file. He had no fingerprints in any database. He was invisible. Then, forensic science changed everything. In 1998, the boy's body was exhumed for the first time, but the DNA was too degraded to be useful. 21 years later, in 2019, they tried again. This time, forensic anthropologist Dr. Arthur Washburn was able to extract enough genetic material to work with. The DNA was, in the words of forensic scientist Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick, like confetti, tiny shattered fragments. But Fitzpatrick's team pieced them together like a giant Sudoku puzzle and uploaded the results to a public genealogy database. Somewhere in that database, a second cousin once removed of the dead boy had submitted their own DNA years earlier, not knowing it would eventually lead back to a child murdered in 1957. The match was confirmed. It was a breakthrough. Then came the birth certificate. And then, on December 8, 2022, Philadelphia Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw stood at a podium and said the words that 65 years of investigators had fought to speak. His name was Joseph Augustus Zarelli, born January 13, 1953. He was 4 years old when he died. His mother was Mary Elizabeth Abel, known as Betsy. She liked skating and Frank Sinatra records, and she swooned over Italian boys in post-war Philadelphia. His father was Augustus Zarelli, a concrete and stone mason in West Philly. They were never married, never known to be in a relationship. According to the Zarelli family's attorney, the father never even knew the child existed. Joseph was born, and then somehow he vanished from every record except one, his birth certificate. No one reported him missing. No one came looking. And the question that now haunts this case isn't just who killed Joseph Zarelli, it is who had him. Where did he live for those 4 years? Who were the people in his life? Because someone cut that boy's hair. Someone bathed him. Someone fed him baked beans for his last meal. And someone beat him to death. Commissioner Outlaw said police have their suspicions, but not enough evidence to make an arrest. Both of Joseph's parents are now dead. He has living siblings on both sides who never knew he existed. On January 13, 2023, which would have been Joseph's 70th birthday, a new headstone was unveiled at Ivy Hill Cemetery. For the first time in 65 years, it carried his real name. Joseph Augustus Zarelli spent more time dead than he ever spent alive. He was 4 when someone ended his life, and 69 when the world finally learned who he was. There is still a $20,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. If you know anything, call 215-686-TIPS. His case is still open. His killer may still be alive. And after 65 years, this boy in the box finally has a name. He just doesn't have justice yet. If you found this story as haunting as I did, hit subscribe for more stories like this one.